Hey, how's
Hey,
everybody?
Ken. What's up, Ken?
Ralph and Greg. How you guys doing?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Ralph?
Not much.
Guys,
I
I'll
wanted
probably
to-
be for like 10 minutes, and then I got to call Kat. She's doing well. She got her knee replacement, and everything's good.
Good.
Oh, that's
So-
good. Send my regards.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll do. She had a bout of nausea for a little bit, but she's back, and everything's good. So
Let
Good
me know if you need anything, Greg.
thank you, Ralph.
Where are you, Greg? You in Martinsville?
Yeah, I'm back in Martinsville. Kat's in Robert knee replacement surgery, successful right now. So
Where did she
Great.
have it?
at Somerset Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good place.
Yeah, it was. It happened so fast, Ken. I mean, it was like a week ago. They put in for the insurance. Insurance passed it. She had like 2 days to get medical clearance, and then boom, they did it. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're. It's going to be good in the end. It's going to be a long road, but in the end, it's going to be great.
Back my grandpa was done at around the age 65. He was a avid what do they call that? Paddle ball. That's the one that has the wooden racket
Yeah,
that you play on a brick wall.
yeah, paddleball. It's like racquetball, but not quite racquetball.
Yeah. And he used to wear braces, and he'd just stand in one place because he couldn't move well. But post surgery, he moved better. He did. Even at even his late 60s, he regained strength and mobility in his knees.
That's what we need.
Yep, it's good. Well, how's everybody doing tonight?
Ken, I want to introduce you to my friend Frank Gallagher I'm hanging out with, and I didn't get him a chance to talk about all this yet, but give him a little intro if you can. 2 minutes.
How you doing, Frank?
I'm well, thank you.
How do you know Ralph?
I do financing for primarily just residential stuff and some commercial stuff. So
Okay.
known Ralph for a long time.
Real estate stuff, or
Yeah,
residential real
I'm basically an originator of mortgages for a corp out of Ohio. I've owned my own company before, and last crisis I just was like, okay, I'll go become a W-2 employee again. So that's what I do day in, day out, just originate mortgages.
It's good. Where do you do this W-2 thing from?
It's a company's called Cross Country. They're out of
sure.
They're out of Ohio.
Yeah, but
they got about 3,000 people.
yeah, I think they have a local, at least advertising presence in New Jersey.
Hopefully you saw mine.
Maybe, yeah. Yes, we'll have to get together. I'm sitting here over in Bedminster, New Jersey. You know where that is?
Yeah, sure. I carried a bag at Trump National.
We're in Bedminster too. I'm at the Bedminster Delicious Heights.
Ah, okay.
With Frank.
Very nice.
So it's funny. You're like, I'm in the town of Bedminster. Have you heard? Yeah, we're in the same town, Ken.
I'm not as direct as Ralph is.
Yeah, that's all right.
Hey,
We'll work on that. All right.
Did my other friend Bob make it to the show tonight? The French fry guy I told you about?
No, I don't see French Fry Bob on.
Okay. It's funny. It's somebody else I was talking to about floating. He was a meditator. And I didn't get a chance to talk to this Frank in front of me about it. But I was just about to tell him, like, Ken does quantum floats. And then they say, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Well, just as a side note, your friend Jonathan just left here.
Oh, how do you do?
Good. Liked it. He'll be back.
He's a good guy, Ken. I've known his dad. Oh, we met him. That's you know the deal.
Yep.
He's a good kid, man. He's a good guy. I have fun with him. I feel like he's a trustworthy, you know what I'm saying? Like he wants to build his future.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, he's he's a good guy. He could benefit from what we've got going on over here, but that's true for everybody. Frank,
Was he
I'm sitting in a flotation tank center. People come here to relax. They come here to relieve stress.
Yeah, well, people come to me to do that. I'm pretty chilled out myself, but I go up to Maine in order to chill out, but I don't get up there often.
Okay, well, that's good. So people that come in here and walk through the door here, they all report having stress to one degree or another. And I'm fond or prone of asking them where their stress comes from. What do you think of the top 3 answers, Frank, that I get?
Finance, marriage, work, the cat.
So
the top.
do you think that's the case? Or, well, let me say it this way. Let me be more I'll get to the finish line here. That's impossible. Okay, and when I say it, I'm met with a silence along the lines of yours now. But I want to make a point for you here so that you can see and I can answer what Ralph is asking me to do here. We generate our own stress. We do. As unpopular as that might sound, you know, I know everybody points to the outside and finances and my wife and kids and things like that. But when you get right down to it, we are our own stress-generating machines. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds real.
We do that. People come here and they get in the float tank and, well, they start to, let's say, clean up the places in their thinking where that stress is so that they have more available brain power to go about things.
Nice.
What they do. What we're doing here in the summit is very much a part of this business, because you go in a float tank and you have an experience and you clean up some of your, let's call it programming, because that's what we call it, and you get some extra brain power and you feel good and you got more circuitry and more energy. But then you go back and you're doing the same stuff tomorrow that you did yesterday, and so you're right back again. I don't think that that's a good thing. I think a good thing.
Yeah. That reminded me of the Kinks song, Here We Go Round Again.
Here we go.
Back where we started. Here we go round again.
Well, that's what happens. So we want to give people a way out. And so this summit series is like a, let's just say, a class in maps, a class in structure, a class in understanding how your thought works so that you can navigate it better. It turns out people don't know that stuff. I didn't. It's not it wasn't a law school class. It wasn't an undergrad class. It certainly wasn't a high school class. And, but it gets right down to the heart of where people are running into all sorts of stress in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Sound good? Well, welcome.
Yeah.
What you could do, Frank, or Ralph can do it, is we'll share with you. So when you're not sitting next to him, I'll share with you, or he'll share with you a way that you could get on your own, and you can come join us any night, any weeknight.
Right? Righteous.
I'll forward you Frank's email. Send him the link.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna love this shit. I'm telling you, he's a thinker.
Okay, good. Frank the Thinker. I like that. Well, we're on episode 18, maybe 15, 17. Yeah, we're on episode 18, and we have covered the first half of John Worthington's book. John Worthington is here tonight. He joins us every night. We've got other people in the background too, which you guys will hear from, possibly, maybe, probably. And if you'd put up the that chart, just so I can kind of show where we were and where we're going now. I'm going to show you All right. So we talked about this last night. The first part of the book, which we finished up last night, are the tools, things you can pick up and use. They're already features of what, it's not new capacities. You have all of these abilities within you, but it just hasn't been defined yet. If you put a definition around it, which we've been doing, and some words and some structure around it, well, then you got something that you can say, that's it, I can do that thing. So that's what we're doing here, is in the first part of the book is like building a tool set for you, at least getting you to see that you've got these tools and you could use them. We're turning now to the second part of the book, which are the functions, which is how spirit, if you want to call it that, or whatever, soul, or whatever name that you want to give it, expresses through you. Okay. Now, I'm sitting here. I've got my 2018 version MacBook Pro that I'm doing this Summit series thing on, but Mr. Kaplan here, myself, is the computer operator. Right? I mean, just kind of think about that. Like, who's the operator? It's not, I'll lift my MacBook up. You can't see I'm doing it. It's not the MacBook. It would be me. I'm the one that's driving what's going on. There's got programs on it. Thankfully, I don't have to come in every day and rewrite my operating system software. But if it's going to do something, it's going to be because Mr. Kaplan here, opens it up, turns it on, pushes a button, calls up a word processing program or the internet or whatever other kind of functionality. Call me the operator. Who's the operator of your biocomputer? Think about that. I had a guy that I met earlier today, also in the finance business, and he told me, said, I'm going through a tough time at home. I'm always stressed out, and I'm very reactive, and I snap at my wife and I snap at my kids. And I said, well, what about at work? What's going on at work? And he said, well, I don't do that at work. Well, maybe, he may pretty it up at work, but whatever you're doing, with your programming, you're doing it all the time. So I said, well, what do you do with this when this reactivity thing comes up? And he said, well, I've learned this thing. I think he said from Tony Robbins or something like that. Maybe he was talking about Tim Ferriss. I can't remember, one of those guys. He said, when it comes up, when I notice that my reactivity comes up, he said, I quash it. I squash it. I said, what does it mean to squash it? And then I said, well, who's the one that's doing the actual squashing? And literally, when I knew it, I had asked a question. I was met with a blank stare because I had pointed out to him that he's talking to me about these two entities, one that is getting all angry and another one that's noticing it and trying to squash it. Okay, well, who is that? What's that about? What we do here what we're doing here is we're giving you guys a structure for how the computer operator expresses through your body. Okay, that's what this is about. It's a map, Frank and Ralph. That's it. Think about it this way. Your ability to get from one place to another is as good as the map you use to navigate. Okay, and that might seem like that's just the thing that you'd use when you get in the car and drive from your house to work, but it ain't. It's a thing that we use to do everything in life. The very thoughts we have are the map. The memories we have are our map, and as good as we can navigate through life is about as good as the map you have. So what we're trying to get you guys to see is, well, you can upgrade your map. You can have one that, let's call it, is more accurate than the one that you are using now. But to see that, I'm pretty much helpless at this point. I mean, this is one of those things, I suppose, like everything in life, where you're either going to pick up and find it out for yourself or you're not. Okay, that's why we present this as tools. You have a tool of programming, and if you notice, the tool of programming is next to B1 function, which we're talking about tonight. If you deal with the circuitry and the stuff inside your thoughts, your memories, you could say, then you clean up your circuitry. You actually have more energy. Yeah, check this out. This thing you see here is called an iMac. And that iMac is much older than the MacBook Pro I have here. The iMac that I'm using is about 6 years old. I've run all sorts of reboots. I've run scans. I've run Mac improvement software. It's slow. It is considerably slower than it was when I first bought it. And I think all you people who have computers out there probably know that that happens over time. Your computers get slower. Circuitry gets tied up in the background. Things run, and they continue to run. The same is true in your head. If you deal with circuitry when you come and float in a tank, which you do, you can clean up circuitry. Guess what happens when you clean up circuitry? What do you think? Ralph, you think you have more energy or less energy? Anybody? Well, I'm glad you asked, because you have more energy. If you clean up your circuitry, you've got energy. That's what we're talking about, B1 function. We talked early in the series about the tool of programming, and the tool of programming frees up the energy that's governed by B1 function. Okay. Let me see. John, you want to add anything to what I've said up to this point?
Nope, I'm fine. I'm good. You keep right on there. You're just doing fine.
Woohoo! All right. So, what does it mean to be one? What do you think that's even about? Anybody want to venture a guess as to what that function points at, what that energetic function is describing? Well, so here's the guy. So I meet him earlier today, and he's he's dealing. Go ahead. I thought, all right. He's dealing with places where he's angry, where he's divided. Circuitry is running in the background, and he's losing sleep over it. It's affecting his relationships. It's affecting his job. It's affecting everything. It's affecting everything about him. B1 is about streamlining that. It's about bringing your own biocomputer under the control of a single entity instead of being divided. That's a real energetic thing. I think if I can describe it in ways that you guys have you've probably all experienced. When you resolve something, it's almost like, oh, whew, glad that freaking thing's over with. I don't ever want to deal with that again. So whatever that thought or thing that you're stressing out or spending circuitry on, when you resolve it, you've got more energy. Okay.
It's okay with me.
Good with you, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
No complaints
Yep.
so far. So Joe, why do we call these things functions?
Well, if you think about, I don't know, a few years ago, there was this book written called The Rules of Money. And it was pretty much BS, but it talked about some real things that you have to think about if you're gonna deal with money, really. And one of the things it talked about is it said, you got to get in the habit of thinking about money from the standpoint that if you set aside the rent money, you don't spend it to go to the movies. You spend that for the rent.
Seems a good idea.
If somebody lends you money to build a house, you build a house. You don't go out and take a world cruise. Money has that rule about it. It has a function. It has something that it has to be used for. And it's like, if you use it for that thing you set it aside with, financial considerations flow better. Okay, is it a solution to anything? No. Is it something I'm going to write to mom and tell her, oh, I found out how to make $1 billion? No. It's just something that is a bridge for how you think about money, make it easier to think about money. Especially if you're running a household, or if you're running a business, it's an easy thing to do. You say, okay, the money that's coming out of this department is over here as being, I'm pretty much dedicating that to do this job right here. That happens for money all the way across the board, no matter where you are, pretty much. Now, any energy actually has that kind of property. In other words, what you can do with water energy, moving water energy, is not the same as what you can do with moving electrical energy.
Yeah.
Or let's say moving air energy, or moving communication energy, or computing energy, or any of those kinds of things, okay? Each of those energies has its own kind of filter as to what it can be used for, is a way to think about it. And so the thing is that when you work on your programming, you're releasing a certain type of energy. Now, that energy was really designed from the beginning to be utilized by a single entity or a single individual. Or let's call it entity instead of individual in this case. And so that energy was designed originally, or was allotted originally, or came with the package originally to do certain things in life. And if you think about it that way, whether it's true or not, I don't care. I want to think about it that way because it's an effective theory. It's a way to think about something as a catalytic way of considering. And if I think about that for a moment, I say, okay, I have released this energy that in my programming that didn't go to where I had originally thought it was originally designed to go. I've by ignorance, or by my childish behavior, or by whatever else you might want to consider, I've applied that energy in a direction that it shouldn't have gone in. Now, when we discover that, we can rewrite the program. And when we rewrite the program, what happens is, like it shows in the memory hacker, we grow new synapses, and we have our thinking is more efficient, and we just feel better, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that feel better is probably for the endorphins that are released. And so we can get hooked on releasing endorphins and deal with all of our programming and fixing our programming and forget about that the reason why we're fixing our program is so that we can be able to communicate better with other folks, because you can't really talk to yourself, Well, you can, but you're boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to guess that, not guess, but let's call them the ancient shamans understood this intuitively, that the energy.
I've never really talked with an ancient shaman. No, I might have, but if I think they were dead. You know, so who can tell?
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the thing. You know, it's like, I don't think that any of that makes any difference, really. I think that what happens is that arts typically, whenever we address our programming and we get more efficient with our thinking, we unify ourselves more. It's just that simple. We say, okay, let me go back to the original purpose of this I don't know, this rocket ship that I'm in, that I call my body.
Yeah.
Or if you want, or plane or camel or what, I don't know, what do you want to call it? But you want to have a way of considering that energy that you're releasing as to what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, being unified, that sounds nice, but to what end am I unified?
Well, you know people who are unified because they're the guys that's drinking by himself at the end of the bar. Or they're unified because they're the guys that's sitting over in the party smoking a cigarette and staring out wistfully out of the window saying, oh, there's no one cares for me. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad no one cares for you. No one should care for you. You're a pain in the ass. You know, but we can't see that when we're doing it, right? I could never see it when I was doing it.
How do you take that example of someone, let's call him or her the loner,
Yeah.
wants to by him or herself, and describe that in terms of a unity as opposed to a disunity?
Okay, look, the brain does what it's told to do. Okay, like any computer. Okay, if you write a line of code that says, whenever you get this information, this is what you're supposed to do with it, that computer will do that. Okay, whether it's a biocomputer, a silicone computer, a tube computer, a whatever, you give it instructions, it does what it's told to do. Okay,
I've done a little coding, and yeah, I found that out. When
voila.
I put it, does the same.
Kaboom-a-wooms. Okay, now the thing is that when you get that done, when that occurs for you, you release some energy. Okay, no matter what it's for. It's like you run a stop sign, and you stop, and the cop pulls you over and say, okay, enough of that. I can't afford that shit. It's going to cost too much on my insurance points. Hey, enough. And so you start coming to a full stop instead of that California rolling stop thing. You start behaving.
Yep.
The same kind of thing happens to us across the board, okay? And so we learn things, and whenever we learn things, we use that energy. Well, if we've told ourselves that being at one means that I have to do it all by myself, guess
then
what?
everything in your life is one with that one.
It will be one with that thing because you keep telling yourself that's what you want. That's
Yeah.
what you're going for. That's what, oh, look, this is how life is. It's terrible. Yeah. You can also tell yourself that life is something else and that you're at one to do something. That you're accomplishing things because you're at one with yourself. There's lots of colors you can paint it. I don't care, but it still comes out the same thing. It's an energy that's released. Take advantage of it or not, I don't care. It's up to you.
Yep. Yeah, I meet a lot of lawyers who are solos, and there's nothing wrong. It's not a good or bad whether you work solo, but then they often go on to complain about being solo practitioners working by themselves.
Would you guys like to see a rain shower in Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah, for sure. Let's go. Turn your camera on, please. Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, hold on. Well, you have disabled my camera.
Let me see if I can enable you then. Give me one sec.
I'm giving you seconds.
Oh, you're such a kind guy.
No, not really. I'm just more patient than you. That's it. You cannot start because the host won't let you. No? The host has disabled your frickin' video and said, do not use.
Come on here. Terry Vanessa, do you know how to turn John's camera on? Let's see here. I've got change role, rename, hold.
Yeah, I don't have that control on as a panelist.
Well, I should have that control, should I not?
Yes, you should.
This old guy Dubs, I get a drop down that I can put on hold. I can change role to attendee. I don't want to do that. But maybe I can actually turn his camera on. Let's see here. Give me a second here, folks. I don't know what's nope. I don't know. Yeah, change
Well,
role.
you're the host, so
Yeah, I'm the host. Yeah, I'm looking at my drop-down menu of things I can do in terms of changing the profile of one.
why don't you just turn on my camera
Yeah, if I could. Oh, well, thanks.
on chats?
Taking care of it here.
Okay. Hold on. Somebody's working this now.
There we go.
Wowza.
Okay, here, hold on. Let me.
You are in
Let me
Puerto
get
Vallarta.
Uh-huh. Here, I'm going to take you guys around here so you can see this now.
Looks like we're sharing a little bit of weather here. We got some of that going on in East Coast.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like this.
No, it gets pretty. It's pretty wild there. Wow. Welcome to rainy season for you guys, right?
Yeah, yeah. Not only that, but tonight we have a live session. You can see over there. You can see the filming going on over there.
Oh yeah, what time does that start up?
Well, it'll go on for a while, but maybe here when they play, we can get a little shot of that here.
Oh yeah, if you could, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, if you could.
Okay. Now, whenever I hear them playing, I'll let you know. How's that? In the meantime, what we'll do is just do that so you can kind of watch the storm come in.
Okay.
You'll see lightning and all that kind of stuff soon, no doubt.
Yeah, leave it like that.
And if we get too much lightning, we might just disappear altogether. You don't know.
Yeah, well, it could happen here too. We're in the midst of a lightning storm.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, then where'd we leave off there? You remember?
Oh no, I have no idea. I was busy running my mouth, so I don't know.
I think we were talking about was telling you about the common lament of solo practitioners that they can't operate. They say they'd like to, but don't want to operate.
There's lots of those folks. I mean, they're not just lawyers. There are all kinds of folks that do that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is that the energy. You can be one as a loner. You could be one as a angry motherfucker. You could have your programming streamlined any way you'd like to have it streamlined.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Yeah.
So it's no big thing. I mean, it's not, I don't think there's anything right or wrong about it. Just that's how we are. We have that option. We can do something with it if we want to, or not if we want to. Both things are true.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I think for me, the way I kind of think back in this work for me, it became eventually looking around, taking an inventory of, well, let's call it the obvious. I think everybody on this call has the same ability and probably does that, looks around and says, yeah, I'm really cool with this stuff. Or for me, a lot of it was I didn't like it very much. So then it becomes a matter of, what do I want to do with the energy that you can gather, that I gathered through this kind of work? Because,
that can be a challenge, can it?
Yeah. I had to be honest too. At times, it's like, okay, I've got more energy. That's definitely sure. But there's always a very good barometer of evidence in the external reality as to how that energy is being applied. I've found that the external reality usually gives me a pretty truthful answer as to what's going on in my life, as unpopular as it is to sometimes for people to look at that. It's not me. I didn't do that. That's somebody else.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that happened for somebody else, not you.
Okay. Well, that's what we're talking about here, right? That's what we're talking
Well,
about.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Directing the energy of B1 function.
Okay.
Okay. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I have another question for you. I don't know if we've done this yet in the series. Why the office of shaman? What's why don't you just write a book, Shamanism, like about the office?
Because I didn't want to write a book about shamanism. This isn't about shamanism. It really isn't. It's really about it's really about this whole concept that once upon a time there were lots of people that we currently call shamans or shamans or however you want to pronounce it, running around loose in the world. Okay, and they did something. They were healers and they were curers, and they were the only game in town for quite some time, I think. And so I'm not really sure what they did, but they've been around since God was a lieutenant and Christ was a corporal, which is quite a while now. And these guys, these guys all had something in common, and what they had in common was that they had a peculiar way of doing whatever it is that they did. And so, I don't know that it was anything right or wrong or good or bad. It's just a matter that they did what they did. They was what the people had. That was it. They didn't have, nobody had nothing else. They just had those people. And so that office or that place or that idea has been around in the world for quite a long time, actually. And so to me, it was like, okay, let's examine what that actual thing is, because they had to be pretty practical dudes.
Yeah, like that.
They just had to be. That was if they weren't practical, I don't see how they're going to make it myself. I'm pretty sure they had to be really practical people.
Yeah. Yep. I would imagine that's true. It seems to me that that's a slot that has always existed, exists now, and
yeah, I think that's correct. Of course, you got to always be careful when somebody's telling you that they think something. You don't know whether they're telling you the truth or not. I can tell you that that's something I actually have considered and thought about for a long time, and I can tell you that I'm pretty sure that what I'm telling you is fairly accurate. But don't, just because I think it's pretty accurate doesn't mean you should.
Okay. Well, how about I tell you what I think instead of what I want to say that I think this and that, because I think that's fair to people. I'm not selling it. That is something that I know. I think what we've been talking about and what we're talking about here is part of the human condition. I think that anybody listening and anybody else has access to use these tools to free up the energy that you can realize when you use these tools. And I think from my experience, this is me, what it boils down to mostly is work. What it boils down to mostly, just like everything in life, is effort. Like any kind of tool. It's like, am I going to be good with a triple blade saw or a snowboard or a motorcycle the first time? No, no more so than I was when I first got out of law school. Office of Shaman, it just seems like to me, just if you're here and you're gonna you can pick up the tools, well then great.
Okay. All right, look, everybody knows who's who in the family or in the community, right? Stop and think about this. In every family, there is the goofy brother-in-law or the goofy brother,
yep.
or the absolutely spacey sister, or the aunt with the long toenail that still wants to dance but never got married, and all that shit that's going on, right?
Yep.
We've got all those I don't know, mutated family throwbacks that we all know and love and endure because that's our family. Okay. However, they have some strange ideas in their heads. Okay, nothing wrong with their strange ideas. It works for them. Okay, but we understand how that works for them. You with?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
All
with.
right.
I'm
Okay.
thinking I've got some of them.
All right. So if you're the granddaddy, or you're the grandmommy, or you're the uncle that has always looked after everybody, then you take into account who the hell you're talking to when somebody comes and asks you for a loan.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. I don't think that's a whole heck of a lot different than what this old shamans had to do, because they had all those same unruly, kind of weird ass people in their tribe, or in their group of people in their town, and they all did their crazy ass things, and they all felt guilty or felt good or felt whatever the hell they felt about it. Who cares? But they all got to a place where they said, okay, look, we have to deal with this a certain way. Okay. And so the shaman guy was the guy who said, okay, look, y'all, sit down, shut up. You got to get in a new cave. You guys, this latrine that you've been using smells, and it's dangerous. I don't like the smell. We're getting a new cave. Okay, come on, move your stuff. Let's get out of here. This latrine is full. We're going to let it stay here for several years. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the Neanderthals will like it, but we're leaving. Okay. Yep. Okay. And so, everybody said, oh, hey, the shaman said we had to go, dude. Come on, get your stuff. We got to go now.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't think that the shaman was all that magical. I think what his magic was is that he actually put up with the crap they put up with.
Yeah. Practicality seems.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I just think that's how people are. I don't think there's anything special about that. I think people are just like that. That's what I think. Yeah, I know people like that.
Yeah, me too.
So that's the reason why I named it why I call it the Office of Shaman. It's not because I thought everybody was going to turn into shamanic la or woohoo or anything when they read the book, because if they did, I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah, I will.
That would scare me.
Yeah, that's almost like it didn't take me long to realize that there would be more than a modicum of effort that I needed to put into this to deal with the places in my own thinking that weren't working as well as I'd like them to.
Yeah, boy, and there's 2 or 3 of those, I'll bet, huh?
And they were all B1. They were all unity. They were all issues of being divided, of having. Well, I don't know if I can say it this way, but I think it's pretty close. Operating under divergent, opposing masters. Yeah, sounds kind of.
Hey Ken, I'm betting when you read this book, you didn't think you had a B1 issue.
Oh yeah, I was like, what am I going to do with all my magic powers?
Well, I mean, that too. But I mean, who walks into this conversation thinking, "Wow, I'm not unified in my own mind"? Did anyone really think that they're not unified?
No,
I thought I was unified.
Yeah,
everybody does, and you know what? It looks like we are.
Yeah.
Or at least I put a lot of work into making it look like I was.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's fair. I think that people really, I don't really think people can see it. They think they really are unified.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me, because what evidence would you have that you're not? Oh man, I'm so divided. Whoever says that.
Oh yeah.
Well, to your point, it wasn't until programming got introduced to me that I even had a chance.
Yep. I see what Paul's saying. Yep.
Yep. I see it too. I had to get a peek at my own programming, and maybe more than a peek, to see the effects on unity and just what was going on in my life and how it tied back to that. It gets back to what I said to, was it Frank earlier? Yeah, people come in here and they don't know, they don't even know about programming, and not a good or bad thing. I didn't either. Just like, yeah, I'm stressed. It's not me. It's them. Can't be me. That kind of thing.
Well, that's obviously true. It can't be me. I mean, I don't stress people out, do I?
You know what?
I don't stress people out.
Yeah. Can't be me.
Yeah. There's a Mexican song, and I don't know if you guys know it or not. The song goes something like this: I'm ama no con ella, which means not with her. Yeah, and that's the whole song. That's the entire song.
Not with her.
Not with her, mommy, not with her. Yeah. Well, that's kind of the story of certain relationships, I think.
Yep. Okay. Hey Pam, how you doing tonight?
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I was just thinking about when I first when I first went down to John, and like I had, or I had done a rewrite and everything, but man, I was kicking and screaming. I was not, I didn't even get that I could reprogram. I just thought that I had to figure out skills to live with who I was. And so the programming just like was so mind bending. It was amazing.
Yeah. Can you identify with what Paul said earlier about, until you even hear and explore and see programming, you don't,
you don't get it. You don't get it.
You don't think you're divided.
Right. You don't get what that could possibly even be, let alone what it means.
Yeah. I know for me, leading up to when I first was looking at my own programming, I was interested in reading about it. I don't know that I can say that did an awful lot for me. I read all the neuroscience, at least the popular stuff. Okay, so my thoughts affect my perceptions. That's what they say, and perceptions are unreliable. In fact, the neuroscience says they're inherently unreliable. And like everything, I nodded my head, but not mine. Can't be.
Right.
Not mine.
Well, I didn't even fight that. I just thought, well, this is who I am, and I just need to gain skills to deal with who I am, rather than learning that those behaviors that I was trying to accept. Wow, that's great, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, huh? I thought you guys
so
would like
cool.
that.
Yeah, that's amazing. No, that was even changeable. So that was like a huge eye-opener for me. I thought I was just going to gain skills to know how to cope with all that stuff. But, to be able to learn how to change it was, like off the charts fabulous.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, what's your experience, or how do you talk about the part of the energy that becomes available when you do revise a program?
um, yeah, that's a good question, because I was like, I didn't even question it. It was just became so powerful. You know, that you have energy to just be clearer, that you do gain that unity with yourself, so you can live the B1 function.
Yeah.
Like, you're there with yourself, whatever is presented to you, you're able to understand it or evaluate it from a place where you're self-aware, rather than, oh fuck, oh fuck, this is in my life now, like.
Looking at the world.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying, that you can take a look at, you have the energy to take a look at what's going on. You've freed up some energy. You've broken a circuit almost of, well, like I said, people that come in here, just like me when I walked in a float center, it's like, now, if you want to know what's going on with me, I'm going to have to bring in a whole bunch of people I know.
Right.
Through stress.
Yes, they are the cause of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my partners. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. It does also then get to what we were pointing out earlier about, you have energy. So what? What to what end? I could phrase this to like everybody on the call. In terms of their
Yeah,
life.
but what ends up happening is that you're not wasting your energy. Your energy is you're more productive. You have more clarity. You have a better perception of things, and you're not exhausting yourself from from spending your energy frivolously on emotional things, and anger and jealousy, or all kinds of negative emotions that can cause you angst.
Yeah. You are
That's
real.
where you gain the energy, by not wasting it on wasting it inappropriately.
Yep. Yeah. You see how what John was talking about the other night, you being you're unique. You run a business. You've got people that you deal with, people that you work with, you manage people. And I think about the comment that I made to John about all of the loner lawyers that complain about that, but apply their energy all toward being a loner. They're really at one with their lonerness, but complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
You think yours, and it sounds like have fed it into places that have made change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, cool. Who else? Who else is out there? What do you think, Jenny? Are you around, or Elise, or Vanessa?
Well, I thought I was just the master of my destiny, that I could just, I thought I was on top of everything. But what I didn't even realize is I didn't even have a choice. I was just running the same old programs again and again without a choice to do something different. until I learned about programming. I didn't even, I just didn't know that there were choices to be had that were like that.
Okay. Can you give like a such as, so we put it in some context of something that, you know, whether it's changed?
I would run a bitchy program all the time, and I didn't even realize that I could do something else.
Imagine that.
And I guess I was thought I could quash it, but you can't, because you're there running it all the time if it's a program in the computer.
Well, you could quash it, right? That isn't that what
No, it doesn't quash. You have to rewrite it.
Okay.
It doesn't. It's not going to stay in the box. You can't push it in a box and say, "You stay there, no more bitchiness."
Yeah.
It's gonna pop right back out and let you deal with it.
Yeah. So you're saying you can't say, can't just neatly pack it away in a closet.
No. But that has never worked for me.
Yeah. Wow. I was explaining to Frank, who maybe he's still on, I hope, for the about what the float tanks are, and do you think about it the same way, that you go in there, you free up circuitry, and that circuitry you could use either to well, deliberately, or it'll happen, anyway, modify one of those programs that you're talking about?
It'll give you a chance to not be doing whatever it is you've been running as a program for a while. Gives you some space to look at it, to maybe step back and get some perspective, which I could never do before I was floating. And certainly I had to go further looking at why that was so difficult for me.
Yeah.
What were the it's like I had rocks in my path that need to be bulldozed out, and the floating did help, because at least my mind could be quiet for a while. I wasn't always thinking.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah. I vividly remember my experiences coming to your house and floating. And a big part of what I remember is not so much in the tank, although I know I was relaxing, and I can see that I was relaxing. I didn't have a language for that other than I was relaxing. I had been meditating too for a while then, and that was relaxing. But then I would talk to you, and you would inevitably, in the context of the conversation, ask me about what I was doing. I don't know that many times in my life before I met you, anyone had really asked me what I was doing. And in fact, well, let's just say you were fairly insistent on an answer. Okay. Now, the way that I think about that now is that really gave me a glimpse, because I had to actually take either I was going to blow you off, which you position yourself between the door and me, kind of. Or maybe I could say that you served me delicious tea and some dessert, so I pretty much had to think about the things you were asking me about, yeah, why do I do that? And that was
sort of like, okay, whippersnapper.
yeah, but it really was the way that I started to get this programming language, because it took, for me, your set of eyes on the outside to say, what's that thing? And then for me to say, well, maybe at first I said, I don't know. I have to, yeah, maybe this is a question for you. I don't think I denied it all that much, although I had to think about some of these things and say, yeah, what the hell is that? Why do I do that? What was that about?
Well, it gave you a chance to look at it, is what it did. I don't know what I could do more than that, but just say, oh, hey, look at this. Is this what you like, or is it not? Or I don't care one way or the other, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
it gets to, like, What are you going to do with the energy?
They're gonna do now? Okay. Hey, Ken, I'm gonna.
All right, we got some music going on now.
Are they on now?
Ooh, let's.
There's always something wonderful going on in Puerto Vallarta.
Well, here let's just step outside here.
All right, we'll whet your appetites. Hang on, those that want to hear some music. We're going to close out with some music tonight, and then we'll come back and do B1 again tomorrow. I'm going to hang up. I want to hear this.
I can't wait to go down there, Ken.
Yeah, well, let's get a date then, and me, you, and we'll kidnap Greg because I know he's gonna have a good time down there, and Frank and.
But I'm gonna go though. Have a good night, Ken.
Okay, take care, guys. Thanks.
At the moment, they're they're interviewing. So just hang loose, and we'll sit when they play. We'll listen. Okay.
So who are these? Who's playing?
Carl Santana does these live sessions once a week over here.
Wow, you got a nice crowd. Okay.
Yeah. There's some people. They brought some people, and we brought some people, and so forth.
Cool.
Nice living room we got there, John.
Yeah. Well, that's how our living room is, and you can see outside it's raining a little bit tonight.
Ooh, it's big.
John, when did you move there from the other place?
About 4 years ago, I think.
Oh, wow. It's pretty spectacular.
Oh, you'd love it, Pam.
Yeah, I would love it. I could see that already.
My God, I would love it. In the winter, when you're not busy, you should go down. Or
Yeah.
sit if you want.
If there's going to be some class, I will totally be on board with that.
Cool.
Pam, I know that you got all your landscaping, hardscaping stuff, but what I'm planning next is more in the order of a long weekend.
A long weekend would be amazing.
Thursday to Sunday, and we'll do like an intro class, which will be helpful to everybody down there. We'll have some fun. You in?
Okay.
Okay, I'll coordinate with Ralph some dates, and we'll see if
Your kids want to go, Pam?
Probably not. No.
That's a good question. Sure, they're going to go want to hang out with mom in Puerto Vallarta.
I know if I go down there, I may never return.
When he starts to play, I'll take my earphones off so you guys can hear better.
Yep, cool.
Class and a concert, I'll tell you.
The guys planted a garden in front of the casita today, so I think it's getting watered.
Oh, yeah?
I'm pretty sure.
What kind of garden? Like an herb garden?
No, they just put a bunch of plants together. They had no rhyme or reason at all. They were just putting plants in the ground. It's all right. Let's take a little bit. I'll go down and rearrange.
I got to get going, Ken. And John, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, I think they're recording this, so you can watch it later. If you
Okay, great. Thank you.
want. Okay,
Pam.
Ted. See you later.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Not at all. I'm gonna hang, John, if you don't mind keeping it live for a while.
That's fine.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.
John, the sound's not coming out very good.
Well, that's as good as you're going to get it tonight, I guess, guys.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Or maybe
It's-
we're back to recording.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's recording it. We'll upload it for you after a bit. How's that?
Sounds
Cool.
good.
All right. Well,
Yeah, but you guys ought to know that that's the kind of shit that goes on here all the time.
Yeah. Drop of a hat. There's somebody playing a song in the living room or on the deck.
Or somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, guys. Anyway, we'll see you later. And these things happen. What can I tell you?
yep. Enjoy
Later.
the music. Bye.
Bye.